Welcome to Discover Fort Monroe. This week, I'm actually going to let Scott tell you what we're doing.
We are part of one of the globe's most significant migrations each year, with this incredible explosion of bird life that happens as birds, woodland birds, oceanic birds, make their way from South America all the way up to Canada. And if you pay attention, slow down, we're going to give you some tips on where to do that. You'll see a different sort of species, a whole different animal community that shows up from one time of year to the other.
I love it. Let's grab our binoculars and our cameras and let's do it.
Go.
Our first spot is here across from the Colonies RV and Travel Park on the north end, just next to this wooded area that Scott's going to explain a little bit more on why this is our first bird hotspot.
So what we're about to enter is spring migration, which is a super exciting time if you live on the East Coast, because what happens is all those neotropical birds that we know start showing up. They've spent their winter like we'd like to spend it in the Caribbean and South America, and now they're coming back. Behind me is a grove of trees. This is Battery, Anderson and Ruggles, one of the few really clustered places with, you see the live oaks behind us, you see some cedars in there. So what I'm keenly interested in is all the birders out there in Hampton Roads coming out to check this spot out in April and May.
What kind of birds can we expect to see?
Yeah, so these are going to be a lot of warblers. So red starts, oven birds are a potential here, white-throated. They're just a bunch of these wood warblers that are moving their way up that I'm interested to see at this spot.
For all of our spots today, make sure to comment below your pictures and what you've seen, as well as mark it in, is it eBird?
eBird.org is the #1 place to record your list. Right now, Fort Monroe is a hotspot. It's the #2 hotspot in Hampton. I think we can get to #1. Grandview's #1. Folks say, why does it matter? Well, it matters because as a resource manager, we'll use that data as we rewild this island and we work on how we build different ecology types, different plant communities that then support bugs, that then support the birds.
We're out here at our next spot, which is just after the East Mellon Bridge if you're coming onto Fort Monroe, and behind us is this kind of triangle between the East Mellon Bridge and the Mercury Bridge, which during low tide has a large sandbar. Why does that make this our next stop?
Yeah, it's a newbie thing. I think folks know a lot of people come out here to fish for drum and speckled trout, a lot of crabbing, because this is the entry to Mill Creek and that estuary. What I'm interested to watch all this year is going to be this little sandbar behind us. You may be able to pick up those 2 gulls that are back there. I'm interested to see the shorebirds that come out there because it just screams out of place. So you'd see the sandpipers, the yellowlegs, maybe even a blue heron, a little blue heron kind of hang out. So a neat spot, but it also tells us another story, which is birders will always tell you got to get up early, and that's true. The tides also play a massive role here, and what I love about that is the tides give us, 2 stories a day. A low tide experience is different from high tide.
Our final stop for today is the Fort Monroe Theater, which is a popular spot amongst birders right now, as we're seeing the return of the yellow-crested night herons, who are being very good sports today about hanging out and being on camera. Scott, could you tell us a little bit about this bird?
Yeah, I think night herons they're a fun bird. There's 2 types, black-crowned and yellow-crowned. We will have both here. Yellow-crowned will nest here. They're a coastal bird. And then they will winter in other locations to the south that are warm and pleasant. But they're really fun birds. They're kind of goofy. They're tons of personality. They don't look like they're quite right in the head, so I associate with them. Fort Monroe has a lot of built infrastructure on it, and we celebrate the built infrastructure. Yet, if we're thoughtful about it and intentional, there's still room for wildlife. And you have to imagine this island pre-settlement as a big wetland, a big marsh. Well, that still carries on. And when we see the yellow-crowned night herons and we see those birds, that reminds us that humans' intervention on this landscape is relatively recent. And as we lean forward and we think again about how this island needs to function best in the 21st century, how we make space to accommodate both the history of human settlement here, also how we make space for wildlife that we share, will be a richer experience for the entire system.
Thank you, Scott, for joining us this week on Discover Fort Monroe. Make sure to grab your binoculars, your camera, and stop by the theater and say hi to the yellow-crested night herons or some of the other spots that we explored today. Perfect.
Nice.
Thank you.
Always.